What's going on, guys? Welcome back to your
God dang, smoke another.
allergies. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to your Lake Fork Guide. It is the preview for the Bassmaster Elite Series. There's the Bassmaster Elite Series angler right there. Clark Windlet's around the corner. Iconelli's out at the mouth. Yeah, they're here. It's their first day of practice, and we're out here looking around. Had some guide trips this morning, half-day guide trips, and so after that, me and Maze got together and decided we'll poke around and film a little preview for you guys. So we are about to break down what's going on at Lake Fork this week and what you can expect to see at the tournament this weekend.
Oh, it's a giant. Oh my God.
Get it, let's go! Let's freaking go! Woo! Let's freaking go! Well, Cody, as you heard from my so eloquent cough I had there to open the video, spring is in the air, my man.
It is in the air.
There's pollen everywhere. The wind off of this bank is blowing 900 miles an hour pretty much every day. But something a little more important than that's happening.
Important in her.
Yeah, like education's important, but fishing's importanter.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, there's something more important happening.
What's that? I'm with you?
No.
Oh, come on, man.
No. That is not even as important as this. As important as that is not as important as this.
Okay, but it is important. We got that.
We get to use the old internal forward-facing sonar. They're getting on beds, folks. As you're going to see in today's video, they are hopping on beds this week. This is Monday before the Elite Series event. Man, they're getting it, dude. They're flying in there.
Oh, yeah, they are fast.
It's like you can go through an area and then go back through and find new ones. Like, it's happening so fast, and really surprised me how many pairs we're seeing. A lot of spawning fish right now.
There's a lot of pairs. I've seen more pairs than I have singles today.
And normally, you know, when you go sight fishing, you see a lot of singles, and you see, you know, for every single every pair that you see, you'll see 3 or 4 singles. Mm-hmm. It's predominantly pairs today. Yeah,
and the good thing about that with the elites, they get to weigh everything. Yeah, they may not be able to bring that to the weigh-in, but
they can catch them both and weigh in.
Yeah.
Now, why is that important that we're seeing pairs? Explain to the viewers out there.
Well, that means they're locked on. They're not just freshly on the bed, so that means they're going to get caught.
Why is it even more important that there's pairs over there? Can you think of another reason? Because the big ones are there.
Well, yeah, I mean,
if there's only one there, it's always going to be the little one 99% of the time.
Yeah.
When you get the pair, the female shows up, the bigger fish shows up. I can't believe you didn't catch that one. I tried to set that up for you.
Man, I'm too excited. I'm just going to go catch some more.
Here's the deal. I threw the alley. I forgot I was throwing it to a 5'5" white guy. He couldn't complete the hoop. That's what just happened. You like that one?
I do. I hate basketball.
I painted that picture beautifully, didn't I?
You did paint it beautifully. But here's what I'm more curious about. Is it going to be like Toledo Bend where they're all just going to be there facing the screen, or are they going to get on the bank and try to catch these big girls?
So that's part of the preview today. Is we've seen a lot of these guys out here today. Mm-hmm. Ain't none of them looking at bedfish.
Nope.
None of them. They not one of them looking at bedfish. Now, what I will say is on Toledo Bend, they were out in the middle of the lake, the main lake. Here, they have actually made their way into these creek arms where they spawn, but they are still live sonaring in the middle of those creeks. Yep. And, you know, anywhere from 7 or 8 out to 15 foot of water, give or take, is what I've seen from what the guys are looking at. That seems to be what most of them are looking at. This is just day one of practice now. What I will say, in fact, you know what? Let's just show them some fish catch. Let's show them a fish catch that just happened.
Okay.
Bass?
Yeah, I'm just bass fishing.
What are you doing, flipping a dang frog or a worm?
Oh. There you go. This actually is not the big one. There's a bigger one in there. Yep.
It is.
God.
No way.
Dude, you got bad drag on here. She's going under the grass, nothing I can do to stop her. You get drag real loose on here.
My bad.
I hope she stays. She's down deep in that stuff. Got her? Got her. Fat. There we go, boys. So I ended up actually foul hooking this fish, so it would not count in the tournament. But we found the jig hook. The jig hook hole is right there. There's a hole in her lip. You can see my finger sticking through it right there. So I had her pegged legally the first time, but this time I foul hooked her on accident. And that's a beautiful, beautiful, very young, very small-mouthed, giant-bodied Lake Fork bass. And that is why bed fishing can sometimes win tournaments, because you do this 5 times a day, you're going to be pretty tough to beat. Here's what I want to know. How many fish that size are these boys going to have to see up in the dirt to change their mind and somebody make a run at it, you know, in the back of the pockets?
Probably whenever, after day one, whoever's leading by doing that.
Do you think somebody's going to win this tournament sight fishing?
I do. After
Really?
what we've seen today, as the week goes on, yeah, I do.
So what y'all haven't seen, y'all saw one fish catch, or 2 fish catches, so a pair, right?
Yeah.
Like a good male and a really good 8 to 9 pound female. We didn't put her on scale because here at Fork, unless we think they're 10, we don't put them on scale. We should have put that one on scale because it was getting close.
She was close.
But, you know, that was probably, you know, we see a lot of them. That was about 8 to 9, probably about an 8.5 pound female is what that was. And beautiful fish. Boy, she was fat, young, very small mouth, you know, compared to her body. But we caught that one. But, dude, we saw other pairs that are like, they're just coming in today, so they're not locked on. They're not really catchable yet. But this is Monday. And I know we got a cold front coming Wednesday, but we got a hard warming trend today.
Yep.
We saw as high as 70 degrees in the back of a pocket today.
Yep.
We've got another warming day tomorrow. Little cool down on Wednesday and Thursday, but then it's going to warm back up going over the weekend. And once you get up over 70 degrees in the back corners, man, the temperature is not going to change that much in 24 hours.
Well, no, and this happened last year too. I mean, we got a cold front, and it didn't affect the fish that were locked on that one bed.
Once they go in, they don't go out.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, once they get on that bed, they don't leave it. I have caught fish post cold front in 55-degree water off beds on this lake. So, can somebody figure that out this week? Potentially. But if I'm giving you my honest opinion, it's probably going to be somebody out there scoping. I think, I mean, those guys are so good with that deal. And I've heard some inside information that it's like a thing amongst all of them, like amongst a lot of them this year, that like all they're going to do is live scope. They're just going to see how good they can do doing nothing but live scope. Like that's like half the tours, that's what they're doing.
I know. I don't like it. It's boring to watch.
Well, you can have your discussions on that, and we've done a lot of those. I don't want to get into that in this preview, but I will say I think that you're going to see those guys at times this week. It's going to be really slow on those scopers because there's going to be so many fish running to the bank. We're going to be approaching 7 days after the full moon on Saturday. That's the peak of the spawning activity usually, 7 days after the full moon. So there's going to be more fish coming in. I mean, I don't know. I mean, this one's really up in the air. And I'll tell you one thing that's going to be cool about this event. Probably the thing I'm most excited about watching this event for is the fact that this event can be completely different on Thursday than it is on Sunday.
Yep.
The guy that's leading on, like, this event's going to be wide open. The guy that's winning on Thursday is probably not going to be the dude that wins on Sunday, and probably not even close. You know what I mean? Because of the front that's coming in on Wednesday, you know, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, that's going to affect Thursday's fishing. And then a guy may struggle sight fishing Thursdays, you know, shallow fishing Thursday, and then he may blow the doors off of him Saturday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that type of deal.
Yeah, and there's only going to be so many protected pockets because it is going to be windy Thursday, Friday after that front. So, you know, maybe talking like if, say, I'm elite, which I'm far from it, you know, maybe the first 2 days.
You're elite in my heart.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That means a lot. Is, you know, doing the forward-facing sonar the first 2 days, and then by the weekend, then maybe hit the bank.
That may be the guy that wins this thing.
Yeah.
The dude that's diverse, right? The dude that'll do both. That'll really listen to Mother Nature's cues and kind of capitalize on both of those bites. I thought that was what was going to happen on Toledo the way it shaped out, but the sonar deal ended up holding up there. But they were right on the full moon, so those fish were still making their way to it. These fish have got here, man. They've got here. We're seeing a lot of them up shallow. If you're coming to Lake Fork, number one, if you're coming to Lake Fork, Thursday through Sunday, please do not fish. Come out, spectate, learn, watch these guys, turn your electronics off, stay well away from them, and observe. and watch the best in the business show this lake for what it really can do. Because that's what happens every time they come here. They show it off every time they come here. And as a business owner out here, I want them to show it off. But also as a respect for our fellow angler, because we're all supposed to look out for each other in this world. Whether we do or we don't, we're supposed to. That's kind of the traditional culture of being on the water.
Yeah.
And these guys get 8 chances a year to fish an Elite Series event. 9 if you count the Classic. But all of them get 8 chances a year to fish an Elite Series event. 4 days. They get 32 days a year to earn their reputation, their brand building. That's where they earn all their money for the years in 32 days. We get this like year-round, guys. Let's let them have it for 4 days. You know, that's where I'm at. You know, if you're a guide, like I've guided before during Elite Series events, I go to another lake.
Yep.
And I just have to tell my customer, I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that to those guys. It's a respect thing.
Yeah, and a lot of things that, you know, before I guided, you know, when I was doing tournaments, a lot of these local tournaments would still have their tournaments on the weeks and weekends.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that.
And they haven't really changed that. So, I mean, if you are doing that, just like I did, I've always let them go in front because, yeah, I'm fishing for a small percentage. Yeah. I mean, for me, but let them go because they're
and look,
make it.
If you're the guy that goes, screw that, I paid my money to fish, I'm gonna fish. Okay, that's your right to do that. Yeah. But just understand, when I see you fishing media and I'm on a guide trip, it's my right to fish where you're fishing. If that's your attitude. If that's how you want me to treat you, then you treat other people that way. Yeah. And I don't treat other people that way.
Which there's only 100 anglers, right?
It's not that much.
So
you can get out here and fish around them.
Yeah.
I just like to give them the full run of it. I do. So what else we gonna see, Mace? I'll tell you what else we're gonna see. We're gonna see somebody get up there and go junk fishing, you know, swim jigging, frogging, something along those lines in the slop, right? You know, the slop that we see right here, and then we were surrounded by on that bedfish footage. Somebody's gonna go around just burning a cricket through that junk and catch them pretty good, I think.
Yeah, and I had every intention on doing that today until I saw the first bedfish. Yeah, and that went out the window.
Well, we're sick. We're addicts for that sight fishing. Me and you both, we got that in common. And so when we see one sitting there staring at us, it's basically like he's holding his middle fins up at us, and then it's like it becomes a personal thing.
Yep.
Like now we're in a fight.
Yep. But the frog and a buzzbait, I think this week will be a good
swim jig.
And swim jig. Yeah.
Swim jig. Heard some rumors about a swim jig from some other guides. Swim jig could be a thing. And when they get going on that swim jig and the shape and the conditions that the lake is currently in, okay, not too long ago reaching full pool, lots and lots of flooded cover right tight to the bank, fish wanting to get there to spawn, that is a perfect scenario for a swim jig. And the wind, you know, like all that is swim jig, swim jig, swim jig. So I like the chances of seeing a swim jig. I'll tell you what, if they're going to eat a swim jig, you got to look at some of the old hands. And I know I said last week Greg Hackney, and he bombed. And nobody saw that coming at that tournament except for the guys inside the circle, I think. But, you know, if a swim jig plays here, I like a Greg Hackney. I like a Jason Christie. I like those dudes that, you know, that's kind of in their wheelhouse. You know what I mean?
Well, I do have a question. Has there ever been a back-to-back first-place winner within 4 days of themselves or a week of themselves?
That I don't know, because Kyoyo could do that on the live scope deal.
Very possible.
I'm going to tell you, I don't think doing it out in the middle of the pond like that, I don't think this tournament, I could eat these words. I really don't think this tournament's going to be one like that. I know this lake really well. I've been guiding here for a long time. You've grown up here. You know this lake really well. Man, you don't see guys live scoping this lake very much. Even the guides and the locals. Yeah. There's a reason for that. These fish do like to get really shallow here, beyond where live scope is effective. Also, you can't just haul butt on your trolling motor through the middle of the creeks in the lake, even the main lake. Yeah. You'll end up in the water, dude. You just can't cover near as much water to be effective at that on Fork. And I think there's a reason that Fork is not known as the best live scope lake. And so for that, because it's not known as that, I really don't think you're going to be able to stick out there on the main lake and be strictly a live scope guy and win this event. I don't. And there's too many of what we just saw swimming around up here. They got to catch 5 a day, bro. What'd that take us to catch that fish? 30 minutes?
Yeah, if that.
30 minutes. Once we found it, took us 30 minutes. These guys got 3 days to find fish. 3 days to find 20 fish that they can execute on in the tournament, right?
Yeah.
They got to catch 5 a day? You mean to tell me they ain't going to find 20 of those in 3 days? They're going to.
That's, in my opinion, on Lake Fork, that's faster to catch a big one than live scoping.
Absolutely.
Because they're going to chase that one fish for how long?
Yeah, and when they start pulling up, they're in every cove almost. You know, like some have more than others, obviously, and some are, you know, traditionally better than others. But Yeah, I mean, it's a really tough one to call because the only reason this tournament's tough to call for me is because of what we've seen going on in the bass fishing industry and the tournament industry. If it wasn't for that, it'd be super easy to call this tournament. Like, somebody's going to win it, looking at them.
Right.
It's perfect timing for it, like the moon's phase is just right. The water temperatures are just getting there. These are fresh fish that haven't been pressured yet that are coming to the bank. They haven't been thrown out on these beds yet. It's a sight fishing derby if we don't have, if this is 4 or 5 years ago, this is a sight fishing derby.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
100%.
No
100%.
doubt.
100%.
Well, who's your pick?
I don't know. I haven't thought about that. I'm going to do that later in the week. I'll give you my pick, but I'm going to give you my weights. I want you to do this too. So I'm going to let you go first. What is your 2-day cut weight? That means to be in the top half of the field. What do you have to have?
In 2 days?
Yeah.
The first 2 days? I'm going to say 40.
Pretty close. I'm pretty close. I'm at 36.
Okay.
I think it's going to be 18 a day to make the cut. Okay? So you got 40, I got 36. All right. To make the top 10, 3 days, what's it got to be?
Top 10, I'm probably going to go with, I really think it's going to be 20 a day.
20 a day. 6 pounds, 20 a day. Okay, I'm going to actually go higher on my top 10 cut. Okay, so I think it's going to be, I think to get in the top 10, you're going to need to have 70. I'm going to go 70. So you got to have 23 1/3 a day to get into the top 10. And then what do you think the winning weight's going to be?
It's going to be over 100.
For
it's going
sure.
to be,
Well, it always isn't.
It's going to be, I'm going to say 110.
I'll go 117.
117.
This ain't the Price is Right. I can still win if I go over by 1 pound. All right? This is the price is wrong, Bob. He didn't say Bob. But
But I am going to say, though, I know I'm kind of partial to this guy, but Pat Slapper.
Okay.
You may not know this, but I do know that he's been in Texas for a while now.
Okay.
And he did really well down there in Toledo, too.
Yeah, he had a tough last day, but was leading through 3.
I know he spent a lot of off-season time here in Texas.
Okay.
So I'm going to say that Pat is going to be in the top 10.
Pat Slapper's your pick.
Yeah, he's going to be in the top 10. I'm really hoping old Stetson's in the top 10, too.
I hope so. Stetson's got a lot of time on this lake. That's a good pick, too.
Yeah.
That's a good pick, too. I don't know, man. Everybody's going to be picking Lee. I'm going to go against the grain and say Lee's not going to make the top 10.
The reigning champ.
2 times. I don't think he's going to make the top 10.
I don't know. I think he will.
Here's what I know. I know Lee don't like to sight fish, and I don't think he likes to live scope very much. I think Lee wants to fish some shallow points. He's hitting it in a bad phase for the shallow point. Now, if anybody can go out there and make me look like an idiot, it'd be him.
Yeah.
It'd be him to go out there when it's supposed to be the down cycle for the shallow points. He'd be the one to still do it, right?
Yeah.
But that shallow point deal just doesn't usually fire when that first wave runs in like it is now. It's like all those fish that were on the shallow points are now running in, and the next ones ain't there yet. Is usually what happens. And Lee's traditionally he's pretty hard headed about that. From what I know of him, he's going to stay on that deal because he knows. Just like we saw the 42 pounds that he caught on Championship Sunday that one year, he knows the potential of that shallow point deal. That's hard for him to leave.
Yeah, it is, but he's also, he's a guy like we are out here, and he does know how to adapt. Well, used to be, but now he knows how to adapt as well, so I wonder if he will go back.
Yeah, I don't think he does.
You don't?
I don't think he knows how to adapt. I think he sticks to the home run. I think that's what he does. There's guys like that out here that are, and that's their deal, and they're better at that home run bite because of that, because they always fish it. But I think Lee's going to miss the top 10. That's a bold prediction, but I'll tell you a guy that I do like. You talking about a guy that can mix it up and do both? He's the hottest name in bass fishing these days. But a dude that can go out there and live sonar him and can go look at him.
Jacob Wheeler. He's not here, though.
Ben Milliken.
Ben Milliken, yeah.
Ben can sight fish.
Oh, yeah.
I've watched him sight fish. I've been in the boat with him, on Welsh in the wintertime when we were looking at him, and Ben can sight fish.
Yeah, no. I think he'll be in the top 10 again.
He can sight fish and he can live scope. And that's what this tournament's going to be. It's going to be live scope and sight fish. So There's your preview. Sorry we talked for 20 minutes, but it was just live scope and sight fish. Preview done. We're done.
Oh, Lordy.
Baits. Sight fishing baits are going to be easy. That's going to be little flipping baits, little creature baits. What do you think the baits are going to be? You think they're going to be pinging the little minnows? Or do you think we're going to upsize to a swim bait or something on the live scope?
I think they're going to upsize.
I kind of do too. It's just Fork has that reputation. The fish here are big. They eat big bait. Mm-hmm. But then part of me says, man, if you can just hover that minnow over their head, any fish will bite it, no matter how big they are. So you're probably still going to see that minnow.
Probably.
Maybe a little jerkbait action. Fork's a good jerkbait, mate.
Well, I won't be up close and personal watching them all week.
You're running a camera boat.
I am running a camera boat. So
yeah. And I will be out on the water and doing the evening on the water breakdowns and kind of watching what's going on and giving you guys a full breakdown of the day-to-day action as we go through the event. So big event. We love it when they come here. We love Bassmaster. The whole team over there, the crew behind the scenes at Bassmaster does an amazing job putting on the event, and they're very hospitable to me personally, anything I need. So I really appreciate them, and hope you guys enjoy the coverage this week, man. I'm gonna try and do everything I can. The allergies and the sickness I've been fighting off, and all that, the busy schedule, but we're gonna try to cover this thing really, really in depth for you this week. So stay tuned for that, Cody. Appreciate you, man.
Oh, thank you, brother.
Thank you for helping me break it down. Oh, yeah. I know you're probably full for March.
March, April, half of May. Yeah.
Yep, I'm full for March. I've got 2 or 3 days left in April. But if you guys want to get guide trips for April or May or beyond, holler at us at yourlakeforkguide.com. We sure love to take you out. If you get me in April, we'll still be looking at them. If you get me in May, we'll be looking at them blow up topwaters.
That's right.
That's what we'll be doing. Frogging and spooking, baby. All right, man. Thank you guys so much for watching as always. We'll see you next time right here on Your Lake Fork Guide.